Good evening, everyone. Time for episode 36 and the final episode of Kerr's Rage, part 1 of the Duaredheim Staff Saga by me. Starting on page 386 until the end. It's Forge On. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see that. That night, Dartin was able to call upon the powers of the healing rune, and all of them that still had some injury, great or small, were healed. It was becoming easier for him to heal the more minor wounds. By invoking a second rune, Tewaz, the rune of reinforcement, he found that he could channel most of the pain and injury that he normally would have to endure away from himself. When he finished, he felt energized, not exhausted. It was a wonderful discovery. If only his father had lived long enough to teach him more. They kept a careful watch throughout the night, in case any enemies had seen them climb the mountain, but nothing stirred. Carmen dreamed of flying upon the winged back of a mighty dragon, with other such dragon riders beside her into glorious combat, her deadly sword cleaving through flesh and bone with equal fury. An ancient song of battle was in her mind, and it was a rousing melody of conquests untold. When she awoke in the morning, she could only guess what had brought about such dreams, but when Tarek asked her what had startled her, she said that it was only a dream. When they'd all awoke and prepared as best that they could, they moved toward the secret passage. When they looked down the deep, dark shaft, their vision could tell nothing of its depth, so Kalor dropped a coin. It fell for a long time before its landing sound returned. Along the wall of the shaft were climbing rungs hammered into the stone, but not all of them seemed strong enough to bear their weight, so Kalor descended first. Using their ropes to keep each other safe, they descended into darkness. They used no torches, as Carmen now had eyes that could see as well as theirs in the dark. There was no telling what might lurk below, so they used what stealth that they could. In time, they developed a routine and made swift progress, although the well seemed to be endless. What dangers they might find in those cavernous depths none of them knew, but all of them said silent prayers in the hopes that their gods would watch over them. With each step to a lower rung, Carmen's fear grew, until it became a constant companion. But still she continued on, knowing that her friends were counting on her, and also that they were no less afraid than she. And so down and down they went, into the unknown void of darkness. With the crushing weight of Modrul's mountain all around them. They had descended several hundred feet before they encountered separate mining tunnels radiating out from the main shaft. "We should rest here," Kalor urged. "I'd like to explore some of these passages." "We need to stay together," Kerr said. "This was a mithril mine, and that ore-bearing rock needs to be shored up to prevent a cave-in. Do you see these timbers? They are cracked and rotten. The vibration caused by even your small feet could cause the roof to fall in." "We need to stick together and concentrate on the mission," Tarek said. "None of us want to be down here any longer than we must." But Carmen's fear was growing, and she couldn't stop it. "I don't think that I can go on." "But we've come so far already," Karina said, "and we've proven that together we can get through anything." "Don't fear the rock, my lady," Kerr said. "It has been here for thousands of generations of men. It doesn't mind our passage. In fact, we dwarves believe that the stone likes the company of mortals. But you chisel and hammer it to dig your mines. How could it like that? We dwarves dig because our hearts tell us that we must. The stone doesn't hate us for what we are. It simply is, and it likes the songs that we sing to it." Songs. And then Kerr did sing, and neither was it in the language of the dwarves, nor in Firmish. It was an ancient language of the earth and stone, and though Carmen didn't understand the words, it seemed that the air around them grew lighter and the rock softer. Kerr's eyes shone with tears of joy as he sang it, and after a time, they all took up a verse or two with him. When he'd finished, Carmen discovered that her fear was gone and her confidence returned. You dwarves sing to the rock the way we elves sing to the green growing things above, Karina said. I thank you for sharing so fine of a gift with us. We are all children of Tempest, he said. Leander reminded me of that when my eyes gleamed with too much gold. That's why we're risking our lives now. For your children to come, and for mine as yet unborn. Will we succeed? Carmen asked worriedly. We have come so far and seen so many miracles already, Tarek said. The gem of the staff is ours, and without it, our enemy cannot use the weapon that it seeks. Even if we somehow bring it to him, he will have to come within reach of our swords to take it from us. And if we get to the other pieces first, Dartin said, we can keep them from him. Kalor, Carmen said, let the scepter tell us which passage to follow. And again it pointed down the main shaft and into the dark chasm. Is everyone ready? Tarek asked. Yes. Then let us meet our fates head on. May we be one unit, one body, one spirit. To fate, they answered. Plans within plans. Deep beneath Dracon Muir-Falor, in Derek's dark laboratory, stood the Lord of Shadow and his 3 lieutenants. Before them, the rod and the Duaredheim staff were joined. All that remained to complete the weapon were the circlet and the gem, and then they would be able to wield it. But even in its incomplete form, the staff held power, the least of which was locating its remaining components. That was the power that Vlad deemed the most important to them now. Derek, activate the staff. Make it show us the bearers of the gem. And before them loomed the perfect scaled image of its caretakers. 8 warriors of mixed race and skill, descending down a great dark mine shaft into the unknown. Can it show us more? Vlad asked. It shows us what the gem sees, Derek said. Scrying cannot show us their exact location, for around them is only rock. If they don't make it here, then my plans will grow more complex. They are resourceful, Andriel said. I believe that they'll make it. There is Endemar Tabaroon to consider, Ariana said. I have left the Lich King for Lycurgus to contend with. They will make it past his domain alive. And the other dangers? I will deal with them. For now, let us prepare for all possible contingencies. Show me the circlet. And then the image of the 8 companions faded, and a smoky image swirled for a time in confusion. They then saw the lightless void of space, and before them, unmistakably loomed Glacies, the ice moon. Deep within its icy shell sat a demonic king with the circlet of the staff upon his head. His very body was the ice blue of water, and within his chest, his red beating heart could be seen, like the pale fish found in dark waters devoid of the sun's light. In the king's hand rested a tremendous falchion, and at his feet moved many smaller minions like himself. With great loping gaits they moved, like some cross between the southern tiger and a man. Their teeth and talons were transparent and shone with a wetness that implied razor sharpness. Indeed, it seemed that the circlet would be most difficult to acquire. How on Tempest are we to travel there? Ariana asked. Derek and I uncovered many pieces of lore in our youth, Vlad explained, and among them was the location of a star vessel. A boat capable of traveling to the moon and beyond, Derek said. Is such a thing even possible, she said. I must consult the Queen. I assure you that she has nothing to do with it. The craft was made by the Duaredheim before the dawn of the world. How do we know that such a thing even exists? Because Derek and I have been there. I don't doubt you, but I've never heard or even read of such a craft. Such general ignorance works to our advantage, Vlad said. But in the meantime, there is still much work to be done. Ready the tribes. I want 2 legions on alert in the pyramid at all times. When our guests arrive, we must let them well into the noose before we close the trap on them. Make no mistakes. The gem must be ours. It will be as you wish, Captain, Andriel said. And the prisoners? Ariana asked. I want them alive for the arena. The orcs will see this Argadok die before their very eyes in the ring. I want them all to watch as I conquer their countrymen and ensure Dragonian supremacy in the upcoming campaign. I will prepare the orcs, Ariana said. And I the trap, Derek said. Then let the games begin, Vlad said. And bidding his colleagues adieu, he stepped forth into shadow, heading for the High Council in Farad Hoth, capital city of Dragonia, thinking of plans within plans. One-Eyed Jacks. Well, my friends, I think that it's time to take a break from the story and relax for a while. As it turned out, our adventures were only just beginning, and we were soon to come face to face with evils that we'd never before imagined. But there's plenty of time for more of that story. Let's just chat for a while and enjoy some more of One-Eye's fine brew. How far down did the tunnel go, Kalor? Eric asked. Far. And did you get to the staff before Vlad did? Now you should know better, Eric, for that's a story for another day. Why don't you tell me something about your family and Polly's? I'd really like to hear some of your stories, because everyone's lives are equally adventurous and equally important. But it's the people that touch our lives and hearts that we remember the most. And that's the greatest gift of all. End of Book 1. Book 2 is entitled The Drums of Doom, and tells of how the party fights through the secret way and comes by way of passage to the Pyramid Fortress. In a titanic battle, they are captured and prepared for the gladiatorial arena to die before the thousands of Vlad's army. In that place, they meet the Berserker Lord Kolrin, son of Garrett, and await their coming fate before Vlad's horrible minions. And the book includes a detailed character index of all the characters appearing in the book. Carmen, Kalor, Kerr, so on. They include the basic way that I intended their names to be pronounced. And we have a good complete character index. The Pantheon I used is from mythology, mostly Norse Pantheon, but also Finnish, and much of it is derived from the deities and demigods of Gary Gygax and Dungeons and Dragons. It's that kind of world, the Dungeons and Dragons world. Bibliography. You see, I have many of Gary Gygax's and his colleagues' works stated in the bibliography. I have some creatures in later works which are of my own creation, but I use a lot because in a way I consider my books a tribute to Gary Gygax and his game, because it had such a tremendous effect on my life and the lives of my friends growing up. And it's just a wonderful creation. So I have some of the names and stuff derived from Vietnamese, Cantonese, Mandarin languages, some Japanese, and others. I used many sources to derive names from. Some I made up. But anyway, I have a very long bibliography, including the Bible, the New Testament, Old Testament, Shaolin training methods. I have all sorts of influences that ended up in this book and the rest of my books. Okay. And there you have it, Kerr's Rage, the finale. And I wrote most of this book in the laundromat, in the Halifax, Massachusetts laundromat, which is no longer there. At the time, I had a lot of challenges in my life, and the laundromat was probably the only time where I had actual peace and quiet. I found it the perfect place to write. I always brought my writer's journal in there, and I would write diligently every minute that I could while I was washing my clothes. So, there you have it, Cur's Rage, written in the laundromat by me. Thank you for listening, and have a great night.